there yelling and screaming for me. So it was really quite uplifting.
As we record this podcast, the United Nations Security Council is preparing to meet in emergency session on the Ukraine crisis requested by Russia. Moscow has accused the Ukrainians of issuing a criminal order after the acting president, Alexander Turchinov, has accused Russia of orchestrating a war against his country. In a televised address, he said his government didn't want a repeat of what had happened in Crimea, and he gave pro-Russian separatists in eastern Ukraine until Monday morning to hand in their weapons and leave the government buildings they've been occupying there.
Кров українських героїв пролилась за нашу землю.
The blood of Ukrainian heroes was spilt for our land, for a unified, sovereign and indivisible Ukraine. The blood was spilt at war which is being waged against Ukraine by the Russian Federation. The aggressor has not stopped and continues to organize disorder in eastern Ukraine. This is not a war between Ukrainians. This is an artificially created situation of confrontation aimed at weakening and destroying Ukraine itself. However, ultimately, this is weakening our enemy.
The Russian position was put forward by Foreign Ministry spokesman Alexander Lukashevich.
We resolutely condemn attempts to use brutal force against the protesters and activists with the use of right sector combatants and other illegal armed formations. Turchinov's criminal order to use the army to suppress protests causes particular indignation. Blood has already been spilt in the southeast as a result of actions of this kind.
Our correspondent, David Stern, is in Donetsk in eastern Ukraine. I asked him if the Ukrainian president's statement was anything more than rhetoric.
Yes, very powerful rhetoric indeed, and that's really the question, how far they're willing to go. Up to now, the government has been avoiding pretty much direct confrontation. If you remember in Crimea, they said they weren't going to fire the first shot. They didn't want to give Russia a pretext for escalating the conflict or the crisis there. So the government is in a real dilemma here, and a step in either direction carries its risks. On one hand, they can't be seen to be too weak, to be caving. They're losing large parts of the country, or they're losing control of large parts of the eastern part of the country. But at the same time, if they do use force, it risks backlash among Ukrainians. Remember, the government itself came into power amidst a wave of outrage at the deaths of the demonstrators in Kiev. And of course, it risks a possible reaction from Russia. Russia has said that they are not, that they do not want the Ukrainian government. They've warned them not to take force against these demonstrators. So this is really the question, how far they're really willing to go.
And you said just a moment ago that, Ukraine is losing large parts of the country. How much support does Ukraine actually have as far as, the population is concerned in these eastern parts?
Well, it's mixed, and it's difficult to say, obviously, because people have different opinions. There are opinion polls.